Welcome, people, back to the Michael Talks Football channel. I mean, if you thought Kono Bowl was crazy, AFC decided to go on an ayahuasca trip during these qualifiers in September window because Qatar might be frauds. Australia don't know what a golazo is, and Japan went Super Saiyan mode. So we're going to break down each and every group. We're going to talk about the first two match days of AFC World Cup qualifiers. Get your thoughts in the comments down below. If you're Indonesian, are you happy? Are you Bahraini? Are you happy? If you're Qatari, I don't know if you're going to show up. If you're Uzbek, are you guys qualifying to the World Cup for the first time ever? Get your thoughts in the comments down below. I decided to break into Todd Bowley's bank account and went to go get the #1 Asian football guru on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. I don't know if he's still posting on TikTok. I have no clue about that nowadays. We got Jack from Deadball TV. How you doing, buddy? Obviously, you're an Asian football historian, guru, whatever you want to call yourself. But even you couldn't predict what happened over this window.
Firstly, I do appreciate the $1 million that you transferred to my bank account to get me on this episode. I'm still waiting on the second deposit, though. So you might want to check the Todd on that one.
It's Argentinian peso, sorry.
Oh, Milei took that. Yeah, I'm never seeing that. That went straight to funding an infrastructure project here in South America. And dude, I don't know. I think if you ask the Indonesians, they're calling me a false prophet based on my predictions and how the Indonesian national team actually played. But we're going to get into that.
The nonsense that happened here, and I just got to ask you straight up, what is the biggest problem with Qatar? Because they lost at home 3-1 to the UAE, and they drew 2-2 with North Korea. Now, granted, that game against North Korea, they might as well have been playing in the monsoon, in the Amazon or somewhere, because the rain was so ridiculous. The goals from North Korea, they turned into the Puskas national team. But what's your biggest takeaway from Qatar during this window? That are they now in big trouble because they didn't play Iran or Uzbekistan away? They got, let's say they got played on neutral ground. They played UAE at home. I would be extremely worried if I was Qatar right now.
Yeah, I would be worried if I was Qatar. Conceding 5 goals in 2 games against UAE at home and North Korea away. Maybe I'm probably in the minority here. I'm actually more concerned about the UAE performance at home. You cannot let an arch rival like that come into your house and spank you like the UAE did.
I'm sorry, I got to interrupt you. I don't know, because North Korea had 10 men for 70 minutes.
They did have 10, but look at the golazos, dude. Did you see the second free kick from North Korea?
I mean that goal was ridiculous. That might be the best free kick goal I've seen all year.
that might actually be a Puskas top 5, like at the end of 100%. The year. I mean, it was incredible. Also, I just feel like the pitch was such a disaster. It kind of like nullified a lot. Plus, I'm very bullish on North Korea. I understand they had 10 men, but those boys are legit. I said it in my predictions. They're going to upset some teams. And I don't know if you could call Qatar away. I mean, it's being played in Myanmar, I think it was, as an upset, but Laos. But I'm not super surprised by that. But Qatar, I don't know. I'm curious. Do you think it's because round 2 was so easy for them that maybe they got punched in the mouth a little bit?
I was going to say that because who did they play in round 2? They played Afghanistan C/B team. They played India. Correct. And you know, you're the #1 hater of Indian football on YouTube. And then they played Kuwait, who still don't know what a goal is other than scoring penalties. So, yes, I think it's level of competition. But also Qatar, they fielded a lot of their U23s, I think, in the last 3 games or 2 games of that round. But remember, they only conceded 5 goals in the entire Asian Cup. They've already conceded 5. And they haven't played the 2 big boys. So I would be really concerned. Do you think it's now like if they lose their next 2 games or if they drop more points, then they might not get a direct spot to the World Cup after this disastrous round so far?
100%. I didn't think they were going to get a top 2 spot anyways, but I didn't think they were going to walk away from this with 1 point in this window. I still thought they were going to beat the UAE, and then I actually thought they were going to draw North Korea. But with how Uzbekistan look, Iran, they're a bit of an interesting case. I actually think they're a little bit better than how people are talking about them. Yeah, dude, they might be looking at 4th. I don't know what their next fixture is, but this is one of the easier windows in Group A, and you got a point, so you can't be feeling good.
Qatar's next 2 games are Kyrgyzstan at home, Iran away.
Kyrgyzstan at home has to be 3, or they're done.
Yep. Has to be 3 points. If they don't get that done, I would
Done.
already say that even the third, fourth spot, they're in big trouble because North Korea turned out to be
taking it.
Yeah, North Korea can take it, and UAE. I mean, Paulo Bento has trusted the youngsters, and I think it's worked out for them. I know you're very bullish on the Uzbeks, and so am I. I think they will directly qualify to the World Cup. Are you more confident about them after this window? Of course, they beat North Korea at home. I think that game, they should have won 3-4-1. The Kyrgyzstan game was a bit of a weird one. Obviously, it's a rivalry. They came back twice in the game. Then they eventually took the lead. Uranov's goal, by the way. Uranov turned into Urodinho. That goal was spectacular from him. So I was a little bit concerned from the performances, from the Uzbeks, but I think that's sort of performances that I'm actually positive about. That they didn't play their best. Kuzanov didn't even play, but they still got the job done. Maybe in the years past, they would have dropped these points, especially away to Kyrgyzstan. So are you a little bit more positive about them, or are you sort of concerned about the way they actually played in those two games?
That's a phenomenal question. I would say the needle for me has moved positively, but we're talking like a couple inches here. I think the first half against North Korea was very good, and then I felt like they completely took their foot off the gas. Katanic, he's a very pragmatic manager. You're not going to see like a ton of all-out attacking football from Uzbekistan ever, but I thought that he parked the bus too early. And I mean, the North Koreans almost got back in the game and stole a point in Tashkent, which would have been a disaster. I think they get some bonus points for weathering the storm, but let's not forget there was also a penalty save in that game. So it could have played out very differently for the Uzbeks. I think their Kyrgyz game, I mean, what a showcase for step football that game was.
Yeah, 100%.
Arguably my favorite game of the window, like banger, absolute banger. I'm a little concerned Kyrgyz Republic got 2 goals, especially when we look at this Uzbek side. It's usually defense.
I don't know. That second goal from Kyrgyzstan was ridiculous. The little flick off the post and in. Oh my God.
Kyrgyz got up for this game for sure. I just think the Uzbeks, I'm not ready to be like, oh, they've answered all my questions. We're flying now. They have to beat Iran. I'm tired of the draws, man. You gotta beat Iran in one of these 2 fixtures. You really do.
But I think the biggest positive for Uzbekistan during this window is they're 5 points ahead of Qatar, who I would say is their rival in getting that direct spot. So I think this is actually a 9 out of 10 window for Uzbekistan. Maybe some people would say, oh, we're not happy with the way we played. You know, Faisulayev didn't get a lot of minutes. No Kusanov. Maybe that could be concerns. But I think to win these 2 games the way they did, it can only say, if you actually play your best, they would have cruised past these 2 teams. They would have. And I think now, with the way Qatar are playing, I mean, Uzbekistan, now they will have a fully fit team against Qatar whenever they play. Hopefully they have a fully fit team compared to when they played each other in the Asian Cup, where Uzbek were just decimated by injury after injury and still took it to extra time. So I think Uzbekistan, it's only 2 games, but I'm so high on these guys. I think they're really going to do it this time around. Now, some people were a little bit like, oh, Iran, they're not playing the best football. But this is what I know of Iranian football in World Cup qualifiers. Win 1-0, take it home. Win 1-0. But I would say this. The home game against Kyrgyzstan, that field was a disgrace. To have that sort of field, and I saw a lot of Iranians pissed off about it, it's a disgrace. And obviously, there can be so many fingers pointed to that. I'm not going to go into it. We're not going to get into it because then that could take forever. But are you just like, Iran, same old with their performances and results?
Yeah, like, not only is this the most Iran performance in a window I've ever seen, it's also the exact same group of players who did this exact same thing in the 2022 cycle. Like, nothing has changed. They just have a different manager now. And I also think we benefit from being removed from the political drama of this team. Because when I look at it, I'm like, this has got to be affecting the players. Like, I don't know if you saw Mehdi Taremi after the game. Like, he was obviously very upset about the conditions here, and they're winning in spite of that. And then they go to the UAE, away from home, not an easy place to play, and 1-0 is, in my opinion, very flattering for the UAE. I mean, Azmoun misses plenty of 2 chances to put it away. Taremi misses a goal. Azmoun almost had the assist of the window where he had
that
little
like half little flick. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude, disgust. I thought I was watching the Asian Cup again. I mean, it was like prime Azmoun. It was crazy. And Taremi just misses the kick. Like, they won decisively. They're just dealing with a lot of BS in the background. They got the 6 points. It's almost in their DNA to win these games 1-0, like you said. Anyways, I think they're doing well. It's still a strong team. They're just 2026 really looks like the last hurrah for this generation.
Everybody in that World Cup will be 33, 34 at this rate. I mean,
yeah.
By the way, Azmoun, why did you have to focus on horses, buddy? Why? I could just see it from just the way he plays. He has no confidence. It's like he doesn't take football serious anymore. Gave that great assist to Taremi in the game against UAE, but still, like, some of the chances he was missing, I'm like, prime Azmoun, because we're already past prime Azmoun. That guy's finito. Yeah. He would have buried those 2 chances, in my opinion. So,
correct.
And look, this is Iran. At the end of the day, people, they're not going to play the sexy football, maybe like Uzbekistan do or Japan will do. Iran will do it the Iranian way. 1-0, and you're going to take it or you're going to leave it. But one team that I need to get their kit somehow, some way, is North Korea. We don't know their players. We don't watch the league. I mean, if somebody somehow outside of North Korea is watching the North Korean league, send the link right now. Because this baller, Ri Il-sung, who scored the golazo against Qatar, bro, this dude is 20 years old and was destroying both Uzbekistan, I thought, and Qatar. And the fight that they had with 10 men and still had chances to beat Qatar in the second half. I can only say, if they can just have better discipline and also just be more clinical, I think North Korea can finish 3rd or 4th. Based on what I've seen?
100% agree. And this is my assessment of them, both from round 2 and in round 3. I mean, let's not forget, this North Korean side went away to Japan, blue lock Japan, 7 goals a game, NFL Japan, and walked out of there with a 1-0 defeat. Meanwhile, Bahrain at home giving up 5? No, absolutely not. Like, you got to watch out for these North Koreans, man. Like, I think they will only get stronger as qualifying goes on. These guys haven't played anybody in 6 years because of the goddamn pandemic. Like, they're just now getting reps again. Let's not forget, they also drew Jordan in a friendly before this window even started. They just need exposure. We have no idea what the training's looking like behind the scenes. All we know is that they've been training. I promise you these guys have been working. I promise you they've been on the training pitch, okay? And I promise you their coach, he got a trigger finger with the whistle. Like, he's gotten them running suicides, 400-meter relays nonstop. Like, these dudes are in shape, man. They don't look like a team that doesn't have a lot of guys playing in top leagues, in Japan or in Europe. And they're going to play party pooper. And I think how they've looked so far, I would say they're a little unfortunate to not get a draw in Tashkent, which, holy shit, what a result that would have been. And then to hold Qatar in a monsoon, albeit, mad impressive to them. If they can, I'm going to say it right here, if they can do the double on Kyrgyz Republic, which I think they can, and Lord help me, they get a win against UAE, which I think they can, they might be cooking.
Well, funny you say that, because their next 2 games are UAE away and Kyrgyzstan away. So we might be cooking already after October to see North Korea qualify. If somehow North Korea qualified to the World Cup held in the United States, that is the greatest storyline ever in World Cup history. I don't care what anybody says. Watching them against Syria in the second round, I said, no, they got lucky to be here, North Korea, because Syria had about 10 good chances in that game to kill them off. Well, now they're proving me wrong, because the football they played and the spirit, I can only applaud them for their performances. Any thoughts on UAE, Kyrgyzstan? Maybe Kyrgyzstan a little bit unfortunate. I actually thought they looked pretty decent against Iran as well. UAE, good window. I think they got a good window here, UAE.
Great window for the UAE. I kind of called Paolo Bento out in my prediction for this window, and I was like, look, I'm tired of you beating Yemen, bro. Like, you got to beat somebody a little better than that. And he turned around and beat somebody much better than Yemen, the Asian Cup champions in Qatar. So I think that was a big result. To lose to Iran at home, 1-0, I don't think it's going to ruffle any feathers. I don't think the media is going to be pissed. because I think if we're being honest, it was a complimentary or flattering scoreline to UAE, like I said earlier. Kyrgyz Republic, I just want to know, right? And I want your opinion. Did they just get up for the start of round 3 where they were like, okay, we're the weakest team in this group, but let's just give it our all and see what we can do. And we kind of saw the best that they can muster in this window, and then they're going to fall off? Or do you think they're going to continue being this competitive throughout the rest of the cycle?
Well, first with the UAE, I do like some of the youngsters they got. The Abdallah guy, where the first goal he scored against Qatar, my God, he sold 2 Qataris, deported them out of Qatar, and scored a golazo into the top left corner. I mean, UAE did nothing in that game. And then all of a sudden, it took like the 60th minute. I'm like, wait, now you want to start playing football? And then all of a sudden, they just started scoring, creating chance after chance, and they nullified Qatar. The Iran game at home, I'm like, okay, it's tough. So maybe the UAE, you can lose that game. But they got now very good chance, UAE, of finishing in the 3rd and 4th. I did predict them to finish 4th before these qualifiers began. Kyrgyzstan, I think it's just, all right, they're just a Duracell battery right now. They're going to start off well, but slowly but surely, it's just going to die off. And of course, they're going to get up for it against Uzbekistan. But I was actually more impressed away to Iran. Like the second half, Kojo had a really good chance. Like Kojo had a really good chance to equalize the game. And if Kyrgyzstan got a point away to Iran, I mean, that would have totally changed my narrative about them, because they were god-awful at that Asian Cup. I thought they were one of the worst teams.
Trash.
I saw nothing. Trash. They got dominated by Thailand. What was it? 2-0 Thailand in that game. I was like, no. This is not an Asian Cup team. What I've seen so far in these 2 games, Kyrgyzstan can take the positive signs. Nobody's going to predict them. And I think that to themselves, they're not going to see themselves qualifying for the World Cup or getting 3rd and 4th. But it's about baby steps and baby steps. So, look, good window from them and good window. But now this group, it gets fascinating concerning what happens in October. We move on to Group B then, where it's a bit more tighter up the top. South Korea. These guys are just keeping up with it. They're just keeping up with the Kardashians of national team football. Why do they always want to create drama and more drama? The only reason why they're winning these games is just because of talent. I mean, Son, Lee Kang-yen, all these guys. I mean, they had beef after the game against Palestine. You know, Kim Min-jae's, talking to the fans. There's just so much background noise that I think it's affecting these players. I'm glad that they won away to Oman. I don't think it was still the greatest of performances, but this team just needs some confidence booster. They just need some bright lights to hit them and saying, you guys are actually good. And the new manager, I think he's just a Korean Jurgen Klinsmann at this point. Unless he can change it somehow, we're just sticking to the same old vibes with this team that we've seen for the past 2 years. Rely on individual talent, and that will carry them somewhat far in the Asian Cup or qualifying to the World Cup. Do you see anything different with South Korea? Because I really don't.
I don't think it's too early to call. I think you're right in that we're seeing a continuation of the same issues that basically sunk their Asian Cup campaign. I think what's really going to be difficult for South Korea, and why I'm almost ready to say they don't win the group anymore, is if you look at the teams that they're playing here, all of these teams are pretty damn good counterattacking sides. And I'm willing to bet that when South Korea plays Jordan and Iraq, that they're going to cede possession to the Koreans. And they're going to do the same thing that they did at the Asian Cup. Just wait for the opportunity, wait for the turnover at midfield, and then punish them. I even think Kuwait and Oman, if they get a second chance, they could steal a point from Korea. So it's just a mixture of like the team being in bad form, morale being so low. I think this Oman win will help, but obviously there are problems. The people are fed up with the KFA. I don't know if there's much faith in the manager. It's not going to be a very comfortable qualifying cycle for South Korea, and it pains me to say that.
No, I would agree. I don't think it's going to be easy, but they'll get the job done. If they don't make it into the top 2, then
oh my God.
I mean, dissolve this federation. Everybody has to go except for Lee Kang-in and Son. Those are the only 2 guys.
Switch to Oceania if they don't qualify top 2.
When you look at how Japan play in South Korea, you just see that both teams, one is coached well and they have chemistry. The other is uncoached and just don't have any combination play. The second goal that Son scored, I think Lee Kang-in, he beat 3-4 players, plays it into Son, and then Son is a beautiful goal. That's it. We don't see any combination play. We don't see, the overlapping runs from the fullback. None of this. It's just like, okay, we'll give the ball to him. Dribble, dribble, dribble. We'll give the ball to him, dribble, 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 and we'll see if some magic happens. So I feel bad for my Koreans. I hope it gets better for you guys, but you're going to qualify because your team is just stacked with talent. Because Jordan, even though they drew to Kuwait, and I'm still pissed off at that game because Jordan should have won 4-0, 3-0. They at least beat Palestine away, even though it was a neutral ground in Malaysia. But Al-Naimat, I did tweet this out. I think he's one of the most underrated ballers in the world, period. Not Asia, the world. Because without Al-Tamari, it could be a tricky game because we saw what Palestine did to South Korea, held them, or even Palestine could have won that game. I was like, Jordan, do not mess this up. And they tried every single way to drop points in this game when they were 2-1 up. Al-Naimat had about 2 chances. All-1 had about 3 chances. I thought I was watching the Jordanian version of Darwin Núñez in that game, but at least they won. I think it's good signs that even without Al-Tamari, you get the points. And the other guy stepped up, Al-Naimat. It's basically, Ol1, he's sort of kind of, I still think he's a good player, but Shaq and Kobe for this team is Al-Naimat and Al-Tamari.
Dude, how about Al-Mardi with the hat trick of assists against Palestine?
You did say they have the best front
all 3 goals.
Did you say they have the best front 3 in Asia?
Oh my gosh. I mean, look, it's 2. It's top 2. The only thing is that Japan doesn't have a great 9. Japan doesn't have a great 9. But I mean, I'm sorry. You just cannot beat. I don't care if you want to throw Junya Ito, Kubo, Nakamura, Minamino. I don't throw anybody that do. Japan is just a different beast right now.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Jordan's top 2 for sure. Like, their attack is disgusting and they're unstoppable. The only thing that can stop Jordan is if they're wasteful in the day, which is exactly what happened against Kuwait. And that Kuwait game pissed me off so much because I had some Kuwaitis chirping at me. Like, oh, you're wrong. You said Jordan were going to win. I'm like, oh, my bad. My bad. I didn't predict that Al-Arab was going to throw the goddamn game in the 90th minute by committing the stupidest penalty of the entire window. My bad that I didn't predict that. Zero ball knowledge. I'm like, come on, dude. Y'all got so lucky to get a point away at Jordan. Now, Jordan should have put it away. Also, that Al-Tamari goal. Damn, dude. Banger.
One touch. Oh, that was...
Oh, it was ridiculous.
The Al-Naimat's, I think, second goal that he scored. Al-Mardi's pass. Bellissimo.
Phil, dude, Al-Mardi, Al-Mardi's like Drew Holiday from the Celtics, dude. He's the 4th option. Ain't nobody talking about him, but he's picking, he guards the best player on the other team. He still gives you 17 points, 6 assists, doesn't turn the ball over. I mean, he's an unheralded hero in Asian football. Like, those guys, if you want to call them a front 4, if you want to expand it to that, and we can get into Iraq now. Like, Iraq do not have that firepower. They simply do not.
They have one firepower.
Yes, they have the possibly the biggest cheat code in Asian football, and Ayman Hussein.
Yes, he is the big. I said this over and over again. He is the Iraqi Haaland, because whenever he puts the Iraqi kit on, the dude turns into a beast. But now that he's injured, and obviously get well soon, Ayman Hussein, but he might be out for the October games, which could be very critical because you know who Iraq are playing in October? Bro, they got Palestine and South Korea away.
Okay, you got to be Palestine.
Yeah,
you got to be Palestine. South Korea away with no Hussein. A win there, and Jesus Casas might. I mean, he might be him if they can win that game away. If in the same 12-month span, Jesus Casas takes out Japan and Korea, oh yeah, he's him.
Yeah, he's definitely him. But look, even Iraqis, similar to Iranians, they're both unhappy with the performances they put up, but they got 4 points. And going away to Kuwait, rivalry game, I don't even need to go into the history of that. I think we all know what happened. 10 men down after 7 minutes. And to still...
Sulaka trying to throw the game,
I mean, was he trying to throw the game? I don't think so. I think he's made the challenge, and he just thought, okay, early in the game, might be a yellow card. Maybe I can get away with it. The ref had other ideas. I still think it's the right decision. I think it is a red card. But Iraq, they didn't play the best in these 2 games. Like the second half against Oman, I was like, Jesus Casas,
trash.
You're trying every which way to throw this game away as well. You're going way too defensive. Get the second goal, and then you're comfortable. Like Ali Jazim, barely saw him in these 2 games. Obviously, he didn't start against Kuwait away, and he obviously came off the bench at halftime. But even Ali Jazim didn't have any impact whatsoever. He had one shot on target in the second half against Kuwait. That's about it. I'm actually still positive with Iraq.
Kuwait, yeah.
He was better against Kuwait. So I'm actually still positive about Iraq.
Yes, but I think this is a wake-up call that round 3 is going to be difficult. So if Iraq think because they had a banging Asian Cup group stage and because they ran the table in round 2 that they're going to do the same thing here, they're going to be very disappointed. And I do feel like it was a bit of a almost naive approach to the Oman game from Uzebekistan. And then, of course, Kuwait away. I mean, the game plan goes out the window when you go down to 10 men. They still outshot Kuwait away, playing 83 minutes plus.
And outpossessed them.
The game was still pretty entertaining, even with Iraq down a player. So it's not like they were a loser from this window. I just feel like their fans thought that they were going to be winning these games 3-0, 5-1, like they were doing in round 2. And that's just not going to, we're just not going to see that anymore.
No, we're definitely not going to see that. I think it's got to be a bit more controlled. And I think Uzebekistan understands that we don't need to win the flashy way. We're not going to do a Japan destroying every team. We just got to get the results. Iraq, do you guys want results? Or do you want to play pretty football and lose? I know what I would want. Get the results and qualify to the World Cup. Do you know an apology to Kuwaitis out there?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Absolutely not.
They got 2 points against Iraq and Jordan.
You did get 2 points against Iraq and Jordan. Look, here's the thing. I got no beef with Kuwait, right? I just think
it's like you got beef every time.
But people just don't like it when I don't predict their team to win, and everybody calls me a hater.
Yeah, I know.
There is no luckier team this window than Kuwait. Period. I don't want to hear about tactics. I don't want to hear about individual brilliance. I don't want to hear about the manager. You were beaten by Jordan and a guy threw the game. Okay, whatever. Happens once. Then you play Iraq and you're a man up for 90 minutes and you get a draw. I'll be it's Iraq. And Iraq probably should have still gotten a goal, but they're also missing by far their most dangerous attacker. So there's no Ayman Hussein and you're up a man for 90 minutes and you got a 0-0 draw. Like, I'm sorry. If you think I'm going to come on this episode and start showering praise on Kuwait, you tripping. Y'all got super lucky. Congratulations. We'll see what happens the next time you play these two teams. We'll see if you get lucky again, or maybe you actually will tactically outclass them. Or maybe you actually will score a goal from open play. We're going to see. That's all. I got no hate for the Kuwaitis.
No, there shouldn't be any hate, but I think they got to just be realistic that, okay, they kind of got lucky against Jordan, I would say, because Jordan just threw that game away. And Iraq, I mean, I can only remember one opportunity, and I think it was like the 98th minute that Kuwait had. That's it. That's all they had in the game.
They didn't really create anything being up a man.
No, not really. They really got nullified throughout that matchup. And still positive. Honestly, I'm shocked they got 2 points. I thought they would maximum in this third round get 3-4 points. So they already got halfway there, and they could beat, I guess, one of Palestine or Oman at home and get that 3 points there. Oman, it's just the same old, same old. They don't know how to score. They got an own goal from South Korea. Defensively, they look good, but I'm just bored of it. You know what Oman are? They're Tunisia of AFC.
100%. Think even the Iraq game, where Iraq literally said, have the ball. Like, have the ball and shoot. And they maybe made Jalal sweat one time. Not enough. They have no firepower. They have nothing. I mean, it's the same Oman from 2022, just worse. Yes. And this is a hard group. So Godspeed to Oman.
Good luck to Halvi. You're going to have to do a magical work here to get your team 3rd or 4th place, in my opinion, to Oman. So Halvi, you got your work cut out for you. Let's get to the last group. Group C. I don't even know where to begin with this group because there's so many different storylines I can go to. But I'm going to just start off with the most negative possible. China might be one of the worst national teams I've seen this year. And I've seen San Marino play. I've seen Jamaica play. I've seen Honduras. I've seen Puerto Rico. I've seen Ghana. I've seen Lesotho. That China away loss, 7-0, I mean, might just be the most disgraceful moment in Chinese football history. And me growing up, like the early 2000s, they made it to an Asian Cup final or semifinal when they hosted it, of course. To now, you know what actually happened? I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. 36 players got arrested for match fixing. So you
How
want to
many
talk about
play
the
for the
league?
national team?
I don't. That hopefully none of them, because if that's the case, oh boy, they're going to be in big trouble. And then you have a golden opportunity to get some points at home against Saudi Arabia. Kanu decides to get the most stupidest red card, and obviously that's in his history. He's got a little bit of a hothead. And I'm sorry, the only opportunities China had was just set pieces. When you give this team the ball, they treat it like it's a grenade. All right, you have it. No, you have it. Okay, we'll just spam across. We'll spam another cross. China, I said this before this qualifiers began, they are a finished national team. The only reason why they're here is because Thailand decided to turn into pygmy elephants and not score against Singapore. Otherwise, Thailand would be here instead of China. They're finished. And there's nothing more to say.
How much better would the group be with Thailand here? You get that Thailand-Indonesia rivalry game twice. You get to see Ishii go up against Japan twice. Come on, man. You get the Super Bros up top. Come on, man. Like, the world deserved to see Thailand here. I wanted to give China the benefit of the doubt because I said at the Asian Cup, I was like, okay, they are finished. I agree. But if they can build the Great Wall in front of goal and maybe just cling on with some draws and terrorize their way to a set-piece goal, which they did, to their credit, against Saudi Arabia, that's how they're going to score every goal. Every goal from China this window, this qualifying cycle, they will all be set pieces, I promise you. And I thought, okay, maybe they can harness that, and maybe they can just become really, really annoying in round 3. Well, they got a new manager. Round 2 was unconvincing, but they, I guess, got a flattering result against South Korea, losing 1-0. I said, okay, they might have something here. We might be cooking up some Szechuan. And then to eat 7 against Japan, that's one thing. But to fumble the Saudi Arabia game, I mean, there's no, like, get out of jail card for this Chinese national team. Offensively, it is the worst team in round 3, and it's not even close. The technical level of this team is so low.
Oman and China might go pound for pound for that.
Dude, at least Oman have like 2 guys up top who can semi-punish you. At least Bahrain got Markoon, right? At least every other national team's got somebody. Who are we still talking about? Don't talk to me about Konishao. Like, there's no talent in this team. It is shocking, dude. And honestly, biggest loser of this window from this group is Saudi Arabia. Because if China wins that game, you get rid of Mancini. And then you might actually have something again. But instead, you win the game.
Blame him, though. But you can't really blame Mancini either, because Kanu decided to... I think Kanu was trying to do an inside job. He was trying to get rid of Mancini. Because you don't make that sort of challenge. That was such stupidity. But it's funny how China conceded both goals from set pieces, from a corner. So the thing that they're good at, scoring from set pieces, they conceded both goals. So China are finished. And Saudi Arabia, I would agree to you. Mancini is one lucky man. This guy needs to go play the lotto immediately.
Correct.
Because he has 2 more games to save his ass. But what I saw against Indonesia, yes, I get him out. But I think we also have to agree to a point that they don't have the talent.
Dude, they got more talent than Indonesia 1-1.
They do, but... what can we do when Al-Dasari just decides to miss chance after chance? Wouldn't you be frustrated? I mean, Mancini, the guy has to smile at all during his tenure as Saudi Arabian manager.
Drop him. So drop Al-Dasari. Make the big decision. You didn't even start Saud Al-Duhamid in the first game. What the hell is that?
I think he's was a fitness
best
thing.
Players.
I think it was a fitness thing. That's why. I think.
Oh, well. I mean, he looked pretty fit. He looked pretty fit when he came on. I don't know. He looked pretty fit against China, too. Anyways, point aside, he's not maximizing this team. I agree with the narrative going around that this Saudi team is down bad. They are down bad. They're not a top 5 team in Asia right now. They're probably 6th right now. But he doesn't even have them looking like that, dude. You cannot tell me Mancini is squeezing every drop of juice out of this Saudi lemon. He's not. He's not. He's squeezing half of it out. Like this, let's not act like the backline's trash. It's a good back line. That back 3 is athletic. They're strong. Kano in the midfield, the other Al-Dasari, Abdulhamid to the right. Come on, man. There's pieces here. And he's just not doing anything as manager. anything at all.
I would be frustrated too, but I don't think these players are helping him either. Yeah, tactically they don't look the greatest, but Al Dasari had about 4 chances during this window. Convert one of them, my guy. One of them. Firas, I don't know what he's doing up there. Firas, when he sees Pakistan, okay, he turns into Messi. Every other team, he turns into Firas. I mean, these attackers for Saudi Arabia are not helping Mancini. And of course, he's not helping himself. And he's the highest paid manager in the world. But these players are not. They're not playing for him. He's not really coaching them. So what are we going to do here with Saudi Arabia? Is it just a matter of, okay, they're just going to try and squeak their way win by win? I don't know if you can do that because their next game is against Japan.
Is it at the Abdul Hamid or are they going to Japan?
Okay,
they won that game in 2022.
Yeah, they did 1-0.
This is a different team. Irv Renard had this Saudi team fighting tooth and nail.
Yes.
Like you said, I don't think these guys like Mancini. They're not going to dig deep for him. And the Saudi team is not good enough. They don't have enough talent over their opposition to play 85% and still win anymore. I mean, look at these results. China, that's kind of a weird one because the Kano red card. I mean, he went full UFC fighter. It was embarrassing, actually. The fact that he was upset was also embarrassing.
Yes, but he has a history of this as well. But another team that are really down bad. Oh, the Socceroos. I don't know what to say about them because they're another case of a team like Tunisia, like Oman, where they're just allergic to scoring or actually creating any sort of golden chances. You just see, okay, yeah, they don't have the talent. There's no Mark Viduka, Harry Kewell, Tim Cahill. I get it. You can't create one chance against Bahrain. They created a couple decent chances against Indonesia. But this might be one of the worst windows in Socceroos history. Getting 1 point and 0 goals. I thought defensively they looked pretty good against Indonesia. I thought Harry Suter was an absolute monster. But that attack is just stinky, from Duke to Yangi getting the stupid red card to Boyle. Mabil, when he came onto the field, my guy couldn't even cross the ball. I beat a man, and then he decided, okay, I'm going to stop. All right, you beat a man, then he stops again. Then he decides to put the cross in, and he doesn't reach anybody. So when do we get to the point of panic station for Socceroos here?
Oh, we're there.
We're already there.
We're already there. I was very concerned, dude, at how, because we kind of look at the Socceroos and we're like, okay, we know what Mitchell Duke is. We know what Martin Boyle is. We know who Greg Goodwin is. We've seen these guys for a while now. Okay, we know the strengths and the weaknesses of the Keanu Bacchus, Jackson Irvine double pivot, which actually I thought was quite good against Indonesia. But I thought even the young guys, that Silveira kid, I'd never seen him before. I'm sorry, dude. I don't think that's the answer. I mean, the guy, he probably wasted 2 of Australia's best chances in the game when they were on counterattacks, and he just cannot pass the ball. He can't pass the ball. He can't cross. Did you see his set piece as the game was ending?
Oh,
Jesus Christ. I mean, like Graham Arnold, if he's not facing criminal charges, he's under investigation. Like the FBI, they're forming the RICO case right now against him. They might not have enough yet, but they're looking at him. They're looking at all his taxes from the last 15 years. They're going to find something. But some of these Australian players, I mean, Jesus Christ, Aziz Behich, Irakunda, I thought was awful against Indonesia. Honestly, I thought he was awful. He had that one good shot against the post. Indonesia were a little fortunate there. But, bro, he was getting bodied by whoever their left back was. I don't know, because Indonesia's got a different team every international window. But he locked up Irakunda. Irakunda wasn't good against Bahrain. I mean, defensively, these guys are juggernauts still.
That's a case of Irakunda maybe facing too much pressure because he's like the golden child right now for Socceroos football. That all the pressure's on him. All right, you're playing at Bayern Munich. You got the move. You're going to be a star, hopefully, for us one day. That all the pressure's on him to perform. But look what he's working with. That's like asking some dude to make dust into gold. He can't do that.
No, please don't think that I'm saying that Irakunda
no
is bad or anything like that. You're right. It's completely unfair that a guy with the Bayern Munich B team is being asked to carry Australia, the team that won the Asian Cup in 2015, the team that just made the round of 16 at the last World Cup and was honestly a shot away from taking Argentina to extra time. The fact that this kid is now being asked to carry the offensive load is crazy. I said during the prediction, I was like, yeah, there's no Jordan Boss, who's very important for Australia, and there's no Matthew Leckie. But I was like, I think they still have enough pieces to win these games without those two guys. I was dead wrong, dude. I was dead wrong. They need those guys so bad. They cannot lose 1 ounce of the offensive talent in this pool because the skill level of Australia plus Graham Arnold equals third in this group, certified or your money back. They are not finishing top 2.
But Yengi, this guy, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed by him whatsoever so far in the Socceroos kit. I think he's bang average.
Mitchell Duke an apology. I really do.
I mean,
because
Duke will give you those moments. Like, he's just a hard worker. He'll just give you the odd goal. But Yengi, I mean, you got bullied by Bahrain's defense, and then you're frustrated. You get the red card. I'm not impressed by him. So I don't know how Australia are going to do this because I got to see what their next 2 games are. I mean, if they do not score a goal against China, Graham Arnold might need to pull it off of Julian Assange and go to the Ecuadorian embassy in Canberra, right? ASAP, bro. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to Japan away. That's their next 2 games.
If they lose by more than 2 goals against Japan, I would love to ask the president of the Australian FA why they are keeping Graham Arnold. Because I actually think they're better set up to play the Giants. I think they will have good games against Japan and Saudi Arabia. They cannot break down anybody, though, dude.
No, they can't.
But they'll play well against the big boys. I think they get a couple draws, maybe even a win against the Saudis, how they look right now. But what do they? You got to score against Bahrain, Indonesia, and China. You have to.
All right, then let's get to Indonesia because there's a lot of Indonesians on YouTube, and they're loving their national team right now. I can't lie. To get 2 points against Saudi Arabia and Australia, they will take that any day of the week. Now, did they look impressive? No, I think they rolled their luck. I did tell you about that Martin Price guy. I think we talked about it off camera a couple weeks ago. I did tell you that guy is such an upgrade on this national team. He is a difference maker. Okay, their attack is a bit weak. Struijk, I'm still not his biggest fan. I'll give it to him. He's still young. Ragnar, that guy moves like he's Ragnar Lothbrok. The dude is everywhere on the field. Pressing, off the ball, defensive work he was doing against Saudi Arabia. I think the biggest improvement Indonesia have made, remember, they lost to Australia 4-0 at the Asian Cup, and now they kept it to a 0-0 draw. Now, they didn't really have chances to score. I thought against Saudi Arabia, they looked a lot more threatening with their speed and the counterattack. But they're another team where it's a Duracell battery. They start off hot. They'll give you 45 minutes of electrifying football. The second half, every time I watch them, they just fall off a cliff energy-wise. Yeah. But they still got 2 points. And right now, stop the count. If you're Indonesian, stop the count because you're going to the 4th round of AFC qualifiers. Do you owe them an apology? You did say Saudi Arabia would win 3-0, by the way. I remember that.
Did I say 3-0?
I think you did.
I thought I said 2-1.
Or did you say 1? Or did you say 2-1? Oh man. Look, I'm throwing InfoWars information at Jack.
I said that Saudi Arabia would win 2-0. And then I was like, I challenged Mancini to get a third. Go out there and get a third.
Yes, now I remember.
And then people were like, oh, you idiot. You thought it was 3-0. And I'm like, well, thank you, Aldasari, for that, by the way. I don't know if I owe them an apology because I don't dislike Indonesia. I just said, hey, the facts are you guys haven't been able to beat a national team not named Vietnam. And guess what, Michael? After this window, technically that's still true. I'm not being a hater when I say that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, technicality, yes, you're correct.
I mean, technically, is it true or not? Did they beat Saudi Arabia? Did they beat Australia? Okay, so that's all I said. That's all I said. I said, I think this team should be searching for 8 points in this window. I think they're good enough to do the double on China and get a couple tough draws. Well, guess what? They just got a couple tough draws. They can definitely do the double on China now. Can they sneak one against Bahrain? Can they hit that double-digit points mark? I think that's what we're looking at now. I love Shin Tae-yong. He's one of my favorite managers in Asia. Like, I hope there's not this narrative going around that I hate the Indonesians or anything like that. That's not true at all. Like, I like how much they've improved. I wish they played more exciting ball at times, but I understand why they don't, because they're playing 2 of the giants of Asia. They're going to get cooked if they do that. Their low block was strong. Martin Pies, you were right. I was not familiar with his game. I had no idea who he was. It's hard for me to believe when people are like, oh, this Indonesian guy coming in is good, because they say that about all their players. but Pies might actually be the truth. Which Pies is better, him or Kendry Pies?
After this window, I'm taking the Martin Pies from Indonesia.
I think Martin Pies won this window for sure.
Martin Pies deserves a move to Chelsea to join the 10 other goalkeepers Chelsea got on their books. But the biggest improvement I saw was Uzebksistan, the central center back for them. Oh, dude. The dude was absolute monster. Absolute monster. So I think it's a great window for Indonesia. Would I give it like an A+? I would say maybe like a B+, because I just want something more from the attack. Struik, I think he still got 0 goals for the national team. Donut. I mean, somebody's got to step up. And I think we talked about this on another video where I said their top goal scorer has 1 goal. They had 8 different goal scorers in the last round. Somebody needs to just take this attack and just drag it through the mud. Now, their next 2 games, Indonesia, oh man, away to Bahrain and away to China. Imagine if they get 6 points there.
If they beat Bahrain away,
playoff spot.
Wow. Playoff spot.
Yep.
Yeah. If you're Bahrain, after you terrorized your way to a win in the Gold Coast, if you want top 4, you have to beat Indonesia. Like that's a must win for both teams. No draw. A draw is an L for Bahrain. Massive L for Bahrain. I'm even going to say it would be an L for Indonesia if their aspiration is top 4. Yes. If they want to get 5th, whatever.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I think now both Indonesia and Bahrain are going to look at each other in October and say, we got to beat you. So I feel like that could be a sneaky banger game between those 2 teams. I don't have any words for Bahrain because I don't think Bahrain played any football during this window. They had a laser show in their home game against Japan. All I want to talk about is Japan. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, if you thought they were upset about going out in the quarterfinal of the Asian Cup, they said, here's 12 goals for you. Moriyasu, I'm sorry. Jack owes you an apology. They absolutely cooked. I mean, I like this new formation that Moriyasu is going for. 3 center backs. I mean, it's super attacking. 3 center backs. Mitoba on left side, Ritsu Doyon on the other side, and we're just going to wave after wave after wave of attack. Now, they just need a striker, and I hope it's Ueda because I really like him at Feyenoord, really impressed by his performances. I mean, this might be one of the best windows I've seen in a long time from a national team. To score 12 goals the way they did and just look so dominant. I mean, Moriyasu, take a bow. You've absolutely outdone yourself throughout this window, and it just shows you the quality they got. Off the bench, they got options. On the field, they're just attacking. Morita, I've never seen this guy score a goal for Sporting, and he gets 2 goals against Bahrain.
Yeah, they're unstoppable. I will apologize to Moriyasu, depending on how they play against the bigger teams in this group, and based on the World Cup, because that is the level for Japan. Like, honestly, they should be aiming for the semifinal of the World Cup. That should be the objective. Not a prediction.
The objective is quarterfinal. No, the objective is quarterfinal. They got to get that monkey off their back. Consistently going out in the round of 16. I think quarterfinal.
They got to shoot higher. This team is so good, man. It's so good. I agree with what you said. I will give Moriyasu credit. He seems like he has learned at least one thing from the Asian Cup and has switched to the back 3. I don't know why my boy Machida wasn't starting against Iran, but don't let me go down that rabbit hole. They look unstoppable. Bahrain, to score 5 goals in Rifa. I don't know if that's ever been done. We need to check the history books.
I checked. Their worst defeat in World Cup qualifiers for Bahrain was away to Iran 6-0, I think in 2011.
Okay, so we're talking about in this... Nah, bro, that's filth. That's filth.
No,
I promise you they've never eaten 5 at home before. I promise you.
No, it's even more filthy. You dropped 7 on China. Like, they had no prisoners in that game. You were doing the watch along. It was getting dirty. I thought the stream was going to be canceled and it was going to be on Pornhub after it turned to 6-0.
It almost became a hate speech live stream. Like, it was quite bad. It was quite bad. I mean, people were talking about the South China Sea. It got political. I had to cut that. But what a performance. I mean, I love this fixture because I'm a history nerd, and just seeing Japan versus China, like probably the oldest rivalry in the world. Let's not even talk about football.
Yeah.
And for Japan to beat them 7-0, I mean, that has also never been done in the history of this rivalry. Japan has never dunked on China to that degree. I thought China was a basketball nation, but apparently not. They got dunked on. So I don't know what is going on. That says a lot about both Japan and China in that situation. Dude, the Samurai Blue are they're just flying right now.
They're just everybody's like neutral favorite. Everybody has their national team, but we all football fans, well, hopefully most football fans, even though some people hate international football, will come together and say, Samurai Blues, we are your national team because of the football they play, the ballers they got. They are a fantastic national team. And scoring 12 goals in their opening 2 games, unstoppable. And I don't even need to see the rest of the games. They will easily qualify. They'll maybe get like 8 wins. I can feel like they lose away to either Australia or Saudi Arabia, but they ain't going to drop no points at home. I'm telling you that right now. Remember the last qualifying campaign for 2022 World Cup? I think they lost their first game to Oman, 1-0.
At home.
And now they dropped 12. They said, okay, we learned from our mistakes. We can't take any opponent lightly. Here's 12 goals for you. Enjoy, people. Enjoy the football. Enjoy Morita, Minamino, Endo score. Oh, my God. I mean, I was watching the game, the 7-0. I was like, stop it. You're giving them too much pain right now, Japan. What a window. We will be back here for October to see how it goes down. There is so many good games in October. If you're not subscribed to the channel, and if you're not subscribed to Deadball TV, you are missing out on glorious, glorious content. Jack, what is some content coming up on your channel?
I'm going to be having a lot of Asian videos on the channel coming up. I'm going to try to do a recap of this last window group by group because honestly there's too much for me to say. I mean, we just went for 55 minutes. This is exactly what I'm talking about. There's too much for me to say in one video. It was going to be 4 hours. So I'm going to be doing group A, group B, and group C, so you can check that out on the channel. Michael, obviously you're going to jump on with me and we're going to do some winners and losers and a couple other mini topics around the AFC. And I got a big one planned. I can't say what it is, but it's going to be highly controversial and many people will be upset. So make sure you hit subscribe for that.
You gotta love Deadball TV. And everybody, remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Get your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember to join the Discord. The Discord was popping off during the Golden Bowl and AFC World Cup qualifiers last week. Oh my God, it was popping off. I loved it. But everybody, have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. Till next time, adios.